Hey guys, so I wanted to hop in with a little segment I'm calling Biz Ish. You'll hear it on my podcast, you'll see it here on YouTube. And today I decided to just do it live on YouTube because it's not going to be a long Biz Ish, but it is going to be a Biz Ish. So let me explain what Biz Ish is. Biz Ish is when I see random things, not necessarily SEO. We're not just talking about SEO and traffic today, happening on the interwebs, and I got something to say, right? And it's almost like, what kind of biz-ish is this, right? So think about that. What kind of biz-ish is this? I probably should get an intro. What kind of biz-ish is this? So today's biz-ish, and I wanted to do it live because so many things are going on. I got so much stuff pre-recorded for you guys. I'm like, I need to schedule this out to you live because I want to talk about these biz lessons learned from all the things happening with celebrities. And we keep seeing it over and over and over again, especially in this last week that has just been this first week of 2024 has been craziness, right? We got the Stanley Cups, we got the Cat Williams, we got all kinds of things going on. And you would think that those things would be enough for Bizish, right? Actually, we got one that's coming up for Bizish, but that's another story. You would think those things would be enough for Bizish, but that's not even what today's Bizish is about. Today's Bizish is about people who take these things, and it's actually sort of what the other business that's coming talks about too. But people who take these things and make lessons learned about it. Here's the business lessons I got from Cat Williams' interview. Here's the business lessons I got from um Shay having him on the podcast. Here's the biz ish I got from Stanley Cup selling out, Stanley Cups partnering with Starbucks. Here's the biz ish from the guy who flew across the judge's desk, and that really is just jail ish. I don't know about biz ish, but that's ish, right? Right? Here's the biz ish, right? So I keep seeing all of these posts about the lessons learned and the things you can learn and stuff like that. Some of them are good, some of them are relevant, some of them are reaching, right? But that's not what today's business is about. Today's biz-ish is about, if you're going to listen, especially if you're going to reshare any of this stuff, I need you guys to do some of the research yourself. I need you guys to Google it. Right? I said this wasn't about search, but it always leads back to search. But I need you guys to Google it. I need you not to just share these random lessons and have no context, no background, nothing beyond what you learned today. And I'll tell you where this rant came from, because as y'all know, a lot of my rants come from somewhere. A friend of mine shared something yesterday about not even one of the topics I just talked about, but a whole other topic. Someone was making a lesson example out of, I'm not gonna say a celebrity, she's actually an entrepreneur, but she's one of those like celeb entrepreneurs, right? She hit $1 million in, I think, an hour or 90 minutes a few years ago on Black Friday. It was a big thing. She's got a huge following. She's got, actually, because I did the research, she's got $2.8 million people following her on IG. So someone was made a post. So this is a post of a post of a post. I'm going to just say that in advance. Someone made a post talking about how now her personal life is taking over her business entity, like taking over the persona of her business, and people are paying more attention to what's happening in her life, which is going a little haywire right now, and not paying attention to what's going on. I probably should have done this on Instagram. I forgot I could stream to Instagram now. We'll be putting this on Instagram. So they talked about her personal life as now overshadowing the business. And on the surface, it seemed like a good lesson. And the whole lesson was, entrepreneurs, be careful as you share your personal life, that, it's not overshadowing your business and not too messy for the business, blah, blah, blah. I got some things to say about that, but that's not what this business is about. The business is about that this person who made the original post, and even the person who shared it, who admitted, I don't really know the person, but the lesson sounds good. So the lesson was good. The example was trash. And I say it was trash because apparently this person did very little research before more expert, but their example, and I'm a big person, like if your examples don't really make sense, then your lesson doesn't really make sense because you didn't even have a good example to illustrate it and to articulate it, right? And so if you know the person, if you figure all this out by now, right, and you know the person, you know that the business actually came from their personal side, right? They actually had a personal already had a personal brand that they were growing and growing in a kind of completely different space. And out of that came the business, right? And then if you had also done some research, you would know that the biz is doing well and still doing well. And actually, they've gotten to where I think most of us need to and want to get to, where their personal business, their personality and persona are not so tied with the business that people can't see them separately, right? So like think, and I don't even know if he's done this very well, but think Elon Musk and Tesla, who's not even with Tesla right now. I'm sure he still holds some share, but he's not like on the board or anything like that. And everybody always thinks Tesla, Elon Musk, but Tesla has gone through great lengths and is continuing to go through great lengths to establish their own brand as their brand. And while they still is like and Elon Musk, it's smaller than it used to be. It used to be like Elon Musk Tesla. Right now it's Tesla and Elon Musk. Same thing with Lululemon. They're going through it with this one because they have a founder who founded and I don't even know the man's name, so he's that small of an entity, but he has said several times he doesn't like everybody wearing his brand. He's been removed from the board. He's no longer technically working for the company. He does still have shares, 8%, I think, from what I read, 8%, which is still the largest individual shareholder of the company. But essentially, he's not Lululemon anymore. But every time he says something messy, they go back to the company and point to the company, right? So essentially, depending on the kind of brands, like if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, then you are your brand. Like you really can't say, here, I'm going to send out other coaches. And even when you send out other coaches, those coaches are still sub coaches to what you already do, right? There isn't everyone that can do that whole separation. But in this case, it's a product-based business it's makeup. If y'all ain't figured it out by now, like it's makeup, right? So it is easy for it to be all about her or be all about the makeup or separate. And so since I continue to research, right? You guys see I do a lot of research. I know all the backgrounds of some of these stories, or enough background to some of these stories. But if you continue the research, first you would have known that it started from her personal brand and blew up into the makeup, right? And so her now being personal again is not at all against not at all against, what's going on here, right? Not at all the lesson that the person was trying to make, right? Second, if you had gone to the business page, you would see that it's still pretty thriving, right? I don't know her sales, I don't know anything like that, but I'm going to say it's still posting regularly. It still has almost 1 million followers. It's still getting 200 to 300 likes on most of the posts. And more importantly, one of the things they've done in that whole separation of personal and business is that now they show other people, other makeup artists, other influencers doing and using the makeup in very creative ways as opposed to only depending on her. And then if you had even looked a little bit deeper beyond the messiness, you would see that she still does some videos doing looks and things like that. And if you even knew her audience and had done like a tiny bit of digging, you would know that her audience likes the mess, right? Her audience is here for it. And so, and they care about her. Like I used to follow her a lot, but I've, been on some recent things, but they care about her. So they actually about the mess, right? Nobody's like, I'm not going to use that eyeshadow because your life is going haywire. She's not, selling marital advice or relationship advice or life advice. She's selling makeup, right? And a lot of times she takes them, as she's putting on the makeup, as she's telling the story, she's either putting on or taking off the makeup, right? Because her brand, they got products that, for the makeup and then to remove the makeup and they're really good. So they have a little bit of everything, right? So I say all this to say, when we see these lessons, and this is one example, but I see it all the time. Even with Cat Williams, like now receipts are coming out when people were talking about, lessons learned. Don't mix in lies with truth. You didn't run these miles and then what? a video with him running these miles, right? Or running the time of the mile, right? Then there's all of a sudden, oh, which I got to do more research on this. Is he really part of Mensa? Because I've seen it a lot and I don't believe anything till I research it. But, oh, maybe he did know that, or maybe he did read that many books because he's a part of Mensa. Like, so now more of the facts behind. But what I'm going to say is that when we as business owners are putting out these whole lessons from, lessons from celebs, do your research, fact check, right? Fact check before you just post and share the next thing, because what it's really doing is hurting your credibility. Not even the person you talked about, because when other people come and they actually have some facts, they may not have all the facts. Like, I ain't got all the facts about Cat, but I know a lot of them. And I know that means some of the things that people are saying against aren't necessarily true. And so now I'm like, what part of what you do say is true? What part of advice do you know? Like, you trying to shame people into mixing their personal and business, and little do you know, her personal started the business. Her audience likes to know the personal. The brand is thriving, at least online wise. I don't know their sales, but the brand appears to be thriving in spite of what's going on and in spite of your lesson learned, right? So I just wanted to hop in here and talk about that, because it's funny always when I see it, and I tend to be a fact checker. I tend to say, I see something and I go and I Google to see not just who posted it, but the sources, right? Because sometimes you'll see something posted. We've seen people talk about so and so passed away, and then it's not really real, that kind of thing. But, like, I look at if it's posted other places, if it's said other places, who posted or what site posted it and said it other places. I do a little bit of due diligence, especially before I share it. And if I don't feel like doing due diligence, because somebody's gonna say, "Kill, I ain't got time to do all that research," I just don't share it. It's okay. It's okay, right? It's okay, which is one of our other businesses is coming up. It is okay not to make everything about everything doesn't have to be a business lesson. Everything you do doesn't have to be business. And I say this from somebody who, every time I'm with one of my like life coaching coaches, right? Every time they're like, "What do you do just for fun?" It leads back to business. Or, "What do you want?" It leads back to business. I'm one of those people. But I know that everything doesn't have to be, right? I tend to like it that way, but it doesn't have to be. Meaning, everything I read doesn't have to be turned into a business lesson. Everything I say doesn't have to be about business because I said it, right? Standing on business doesn't mean you stay on business 24/7. Just gonna say that, right? So that was it. I wanted to bring a little business to you guys live, right? If you are in the comments or the chats, let me know. Let me know what you think. Like I said, our Biz Ish are really my time to talk about some of the ish, like it's just happening out here in these business streets, because there's a lot of it. I had another one coming up. It's a lot of it, right? There's a lot of things that people are saying and doing and presenting as this is how it should be, when really it's not how it should be. It doesn't have to be, right? It can be, it could be, it is sometimes, but not how it has to be. There is no has to be. But that's another business for another day. I will talk to you guys later. Stay tuned to the Girl Get Visible podcast. We got a lot of great episodes coming up for you guys. Check on over to girlgetvisible.com/classes. I do have some actual business classes for you. One's coming up, our BAM, Build and Monetize Your Website workshop, which is helping you build on Squarespace and learn to monetize. We've got SEO in a weekend that is coming up this next weekend, right? Which is our deep dive into SEO for established businesses. And we got all the things to help you get out there, get found, and get visible, right? Talk to you guys later. No business for I'm God.